Aristotle said it best when he said that we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, it's a habit. To get there, basically, we need to form new habits. And they don't need to be big, life-changing habits. They're going to be small things that you can do repeatedly throughout your day to make better choices. We all have things that we want or need in our homes, but it's the idea that we can change our mindset about why we're buying these things and how we're buying these things that is going to lead us to a home that feels comfortable and not chaotic. Today, I want to talk to you about 4 things that you can start doing as a small habit in order to want less, in order to want to buy less, and how can you actually bring in more happiness, more contentment into your home and into your life every day. Now, I'm not starting this video by saying that I never buy anything or that I never want anything, because that's just not true. I think all of us living in society with other people have that desire to get things that are going to bring us quote unquote happiness or peace, or mainly for me, comfort. And while I still buy things, these 4 ideas have really helped me to make better judgment calls. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the nicer things of life, but it does mean that I can make really good decisions. That means that I'm bringing in things that are going to last me a long time and paying attention to those things that I've bought in the past and why they haven't worked in the now and in my future. So the first thing that I want you to do is create a why. That was the best thing that I did for myself when I decided that I wanted to live a more minimalist life. And while I'm not an extreme minimalist, I'm more of a minimalist who likes to be cozy and calm and deal with less things. I strive my best every day to put my why into what I'm doing. Recently, I bought us a new cooler. And while I still am deciding if this cooler is going to fit all of my needs, I did have a why behind it. My family and I love to camp, and we've camped several times now. And every time we do, we either borrow my parents' cooler or we use the soft one I have. But what I've found is that as we are camping longer and longer periods of time, they just aren't working. The cheaper one from my parents works great for about 10 hours. And my soft one is excellent when you're going down to the beach for the day. But they don't fit the need that we have when we go camping, where we need our things to stay cool all the time. So while I was really thinking about the kind of cooler that I wanted to bring into my life, I knew my why. I knew why we needed it, this object that I wanted to bring into my home. But I also had several ideas because I had tried other people's things and my own and why they weren't working. So if you do have something that you want, create a why. Why is this really necessary? But also the backbone of your why you're getting this item has to be that you don't want a home that is overwhelming with things. Because I've already done that, right? I had the home that had quote unquote everything you could possibly ever want, and it didn't work. It was overwhelming, it was stressful, and I didn't enjoy being in my home. So if I'm gonna bring something new in, and it's going to bring me the comfort or enjoyment, the peace, and the just ability to live my day-to-day life easier, then I'm gonna have to say to myself, is it gonna fit into the lifestyle that I wanna live? Or is it gonna be one more thing that I'm gonna have to take care of that I'm really not gonna use very often? Real quick, if you haven't joined the email list, it is in the description down below, and I send out freebies and lots of fun news coming up soon. But also, if you are new here, I'd love for you to subscribe to this wonderful, beautiful community here on Minimal Ease. And of course, if you are decluttering here with us and organizing your life, then please throw a heart emoji down below. Once you've created your why, whether it's just starting out, why do I need more things? Or if you have something specific in mind and you're creating your why around why this object in particular is going to be the best fit for you, I want you to also be thinking about something else. And that is, how much time do you think you could have it in your cart before you forgot about it completely. If you put it in your shopping cart and you walked away from it, do you think you'd forget about it at the end of the day? Do you think you would remember the next morning that it's in there and exactly the objects that are in that cart and why you need them? If you can't remember what you put in your cart, honestly, that should be a really good sign to you that the why just isn't there. The need wasn't there, especially the need immediately. And also, I love the idea of keeping it in your cart because you can always go back and see it again. It's not like it's disappeared. You can also bookmark if it's a different kind of website that you're looking at. But bookmarking and leaving it in your cart or getting something called Giftster and making a list of things that you really enjoy has been a really good reminder for me that many times, especially as I was learning to cut back on the amount of things I was buying and to really pay attention to what I was constantly bringing in my home, that minute to an hour to a week, postponing that immediate gratification helped me learn that it was really just in the buying that I was finding my joy. That once I had the object, often I would forget what I even ordered, and by the time that it got to my door, I didn't know what was in the box. And if you are getting those packages on your doorstep and you have no idea what they are, or you have a ton of clothes hanging in your closet that have tags on them, do not feel bad. I have been in that exact same place. And honestly, it is something that did take me time. Those small habits that Aristotle talked about, building excellence, creating a home that you really desire, is going to take some small habit changes. And it probably will take some time. At least if you're like me, it's going to take some time for you to get used to them. But the more often that you create a why around why you're getting something, and the more often that you give yourself some wait time before you immediately buy something that you think of, the easier it's going to be to build in those habits and create the home that you want. Now, after you postpone and you've really thought about wanting this object, I want you to do some more research. Along with the cooler, I had also been looking for a new blanket for our couch. I had recently just gotten rid of a blanket that I had for a couple years now, and it just wasn't soft. I had washed it 1,000,000 times, and it had lost all of the good, soft, nice texture that you want to have when you're sitting on the couch, right? So it was not serving its purpose. So I ended up getting rid of it, and I started looking for a new blanket. But while you are doing this, the research phase is so important. Go out. Don't just sit on your computer unless you absolutely have to, but go out and feel the textures and really picture the things in your environment and how they're going to make you feel. So don't only go online, but think about that object in that space. Go to your room, sit on your couch, and picture what kind of blanket, in my case, do I really want to have on this couch? So after weeks of testing and trying and feeling all sorts of different kinds of blankets, I really pinpointed the kind of material that I wanted. I pinpointed the size that I wanted for the couch and what would really last a long time. Now, while my daughter really wanted this bright pink and purple blanket to go on our couch, I explained to her that I wanted something that could last every season throughout the year, that would have a texture we all enjoyed and could all appreciate. And while that blanket was beautiful and probably really fun for her own bed, I had to remember that in this part of my environment, this part of my house, I do have really important needs and a why. And that's why I'm not just grabbing the first blanket that was soft and cozy, but really experimenting and researching what were my real needs. So as you're listening to this, you're probably like, well, you are still buying things. You haven't erased the need to buy new things. And no, I haven't. I still have things that I want in life. And I still have things that I know would improve my day-to-day quality of life. But it's about changing the upfront, changing the idea that I'm constantly wanting more things and bringing them all in and then having to figure out what to do with all of these things because I hadn't postponed that gratification, that immediate dopamine hit. I hadn't postponed it. I'd gotten it immediately. And then once I got it home, I realized I didn't really want it. It didn't fill my need. I didn't have a why and why I needed it. And I didn't do any research. So I just grabbed the first thing that I found. We all have things that we want or need in our homes, but it's the idea that we can change our mindset about why we're buying these things and how we're buying these things that is going to lead us to a home that feels comfortable and not chaotic. So now that you have postponed it, you know your why, you've done your research, you've done all the habits that Aristotle talked about to build excellence, to build a home that is going to be comfortable and calm and warming to you. Now that you have the object, the last thing I want you to do is put it away immediately. A big problem that I found when I was getting things into my home is that even though I thought about where I would have them, I didn't put them there. I left the tags on, I shoved them in the closet, and then often I would forget that I even had that object. Even though I knew what I wanted to do with it, I wasn't doing it because, well, if you have ADHD like I do, often we just forget things or it becomes overwhelming and we stuff it in a closet and we walk away. But in order to change that habit, what I have done is I put it away where it's supposed to go immediately, whether it is just some new wash rags or whether it's a bar of soap. I am putting it where it belongs immediately, and that is going to create a home that you enjoy being in every day, that is going to create a home that has a good flow to it, that feels calm and peaceful to you, and where you're actually understanding and knowing what you have and using what you have. The blanket that I recently just got is on the couch where I want it. It is out in the open and being used. The first day I got it, I brought it home, I took the tags off, and I used it. That is the important key at the end, because we have got to start walking away from just wanting that dopamine hit and enjoying it for that 30 seconds it takes to check out. But when we actually get to use these items, it's a good click in your brain that I got something that I actually needed. And you remind yourself that you are changing and that you are going to, even if it takes time like it did for me, you are going to be creating a home where you're not filling it like it's a dumpster or a storage unit, but you have a home full of things that are going to bring you comfort and joy and peace. And you are going to be able to live in your home every single day with a little less chaos. All right, friends, if you enjoy learning about minimalism and you've learned something from this video, then I would love for you to click on one of these videos right here and continue your journey.
Where's Blue? There he is.